Hey, it's me. Welcome to my channel. You know, sometimes in movies they'll show you something really cool and then take it away from you? Well, that's what's happening right now. I had the opportunity to interview some of the stars and filmmakers from Ant-Man and the Wasp. I was in the room with Paul Rudd, Michael Douglas, Evangeline Lilly, Hannah John Kamen, director Peyton Reed, and more. But unfortunately, due to time constraints, we couldn't get to all of our questions. And even though I got a lot of great answers, there were some questions that I wasn't able to ask. So instead, I'm going to be throwing them over to you guys today to see if you could have gotten the answers I did. First up, this one is for Michael Douglas and Paul Rudd. How do you both feel your characters have grown since you last saw them in Captain America: Civil War? Michael Douglas playing Dr. Hank Pym and Paul Rudd playing Scott Lang. In a nutshell, it's what happened in the first Ant-Man movie. Pym discovered that Lang has the ability to shrink and grow in size, while wearing a specialized suit that he designed. When he did so, he became Ant-Man and joined forces with Pym and his daughter, hoped to stop the villainous Yellow Jacket. Pym and his tech played a big part in the events of Captain America: Civil War. So fans were surprised to learn that he and Lang had to team up again because the rights to use Spider-Man had reverted back to Sony. Well, here's what Michael Douglas had to say. I think Hank starts out sort of not liking the idea of a superhero at all, and then he sort of warms to the idea. I think he definitely wants Hope to find her place in the world and be proud of who she is and what she can accomplish. And I think he also realizes that working alone isn't necessarily the best way. He needs to sort of get allies and work with people and trust them. That's not necessarily something he's done in his life, so it's a little bit out of character for him. That's how he feels about becoming a superhero. To Paul, how does Scott feel about it? Well, Scott feels like he's just kind of trying to pay attention. I think for Scott, he's doing it because he likes the idea of being a hero and helping people and wants to do those things. But he also really enjoys the fact that he gets to spend time with his daughter and Hope and Hank. He gets to be a part of their family. So he really enjoys that aspect of it too. Now moving on to Evangeline Lilly, who plays Hope Van Dyne. Her character in the comics was known as the Wasp. And in the first Ant-Man movie, she was shown wearing a suit that looked very similar to the one that Janet Van Dyne wore when she was the Wasp. So could we expect to see Hope take on that mantle in Ant-Man and the Wasp? Yeah, I do think we would have made this movie if we were going to call it that. We actually took the title from the comic where we first meet Hope in her waspy costume. It's one of my favorite comics growing up. So it seemed only natural to me that Hope would become the Wasp, just as Janet was the Wasp before her. Next up, this question is for Hannah John Kamen, who plays the villain in Ant-Man and the Wasp. Could you talk a little bit about the development of your character, Ghost, and how you went about creating such a formidable and tragic antagonist? Thank you. I really enjoyed getting to dig into the development of Ghost. She's a very complicated character, and there's a lot of layers to her. There's a lot of hurt. She's someone who has experienced a lot of trauma. So yeah, I wanted to make sure that I brought all of that to the role. I worked really closely with Peyton, the director, to make sure that I got inside her mind and heart and created someone who is very real and believable, even though she has these superpowers. Here's one for Peyton Reed. What drew you to direct Ant-Man and the Wasp, and what was it like working with the cast? Well, Ant-Man was a property I loved, and from the comics growing up, I've always been a fan of the size-changing stuff. I loved that about the first Ant-Man movie. And so when I came on board, I think we were all aware that we needed to make sure that this felt like a true sequel to the first film. So working with Paul and Michael and Evangeline and everybody on board, they were all busy people. They were all very much in demand, but they wanted to come back. They wanted to make this movie. So it was a great opportunity. Next up, here's one for Paul Rudd. Could you talk a little bit about the balance between the drama of the story and the comedy? Sure, well, I think we had a lot of fun making this movie. But even in the first Ant-Man movie, I think it's fair to say that it's a character study at its heart. Like an actor playing an actor, or a dad playing a dad. Those are the most interesting parts of the story. And so we all just tried to bring our best dramatic selves to the roles, and hopefully that comes across in the movie. You have to take the story seriously to make it funny. If you're not serious about the story, you can't joke about it. So we approach it honestly, and that was really important to me. Alright, this one's for Michael Douglas. As a producer, what was it like seeing the first Ant-Man movie get such a positive reception? Well, it was nice to see that people appreciated the first Ant-Man movie. I think that we knew we were onto something special when we started making it. We knew it was a unique entry into the Marvel world. which is saying something because there's so many good entries. But I think we felt like we had something different, and we were all very proud of it. So it was nice to see that the audience shared the same feeling about the film. Alright, here's one for Evangeline Lilly. Your character is finally getting to spread her wings in this film. And I'm wondering how you prepared for the action scenes. Well, I prepared for the action scenes by drawing upon every fiber of my being, every muscle in my body to bring the action to life. No, I did 6 months of very intense training. I trained with an amazing team of trainers. I learned how to box and fight and ride motorcycles and do a lot of the stunts that Hope does in this movie. And finally, here's one for Hannah John Common. Could you talk about the process of building a villain in this film, who you understand and empathize with, but whose choices you don't agree with? That was a really exciting challenge to play someone like Ghost, who makes morally gray decisions, but is understandable and has been through extreme trauma. For me as an actor, the job is to find truth in the circumstances and the actions of the character, no matter what they do. And so the challenge and the fun of playing Ghost was to make sure that all of her actions and reactions were truthful to who she is and what she has been through. And so hopefully an audience can connect to that. Well, that's it for my questions. If you want to keep up with all the latest news on Ant-Man and the Wasp, be sure to subscribe to my channel. And as always, thank you so much for watching.